Shalom, Yasharala. It's your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, and pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here quick little lesson, which was inspired by this little quick little clip down here at the bottom of the screen from Nick Cannon. All right. But nevertheless, we all know how, I don't know what type of movement he on now, but he had the whole situation about the those comments that he made or whatever, whatnot. They had a big debacle over those things. All right. And so now I guess he's coming back out and he's still kind of like towing the line, after the fact that they made mockery of him, made him apologize and had one of these ish people, all right, from over there come over there and pretty much belittle him. All right. Try to publicly humiliate him and further brainwash him to get, just basically to emasculate him, But nevertheless, there was a great question that was posed in this here video, but we're going to also get it inside the scriptures. All right. So I'm going to play a little bit of this. The video is only like a couple seconds long. But the question, I couldn't get it right there at the beginning. But the question was, why do we celebrate these great losers like Christopher Columbus? Right. So here's the video.
Why there's a holiday? Because he's amazing. Christopher Columbus is a bedtime.
And look, Esau and his pride, because he's amazing. All right. Now, whether these people understand what they really saying or whatever, whatnot, this is actually what's inside their spirit because, they were created to be the wicked. All right. Now, whether, our so-called face value, you can have these Edomites trying to be so-called good or nice people or whatever, whatnot, or so on and so forth, or think themselves to be good. But nevertheless, they all wicked. All right. But nevertheless, his mind state about Christopher Columbus was he's amazing. Now, if you talk to a regular ass Jake, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who at least made it to at least high school. All right. This would be an answer that you would expect, Jake to answer. Oh, because he was amazing. We learned about him in history or whatever, whatnot, so on and so forth. But these Edomites, they actually know this history of what really went on and all the things that really, really went on. And Nick Cannon's going to go into a lot of these things. And he's like, yeah, I understand all that. Yeah, I get all that. I understand about all that. I could teach you all those things. Yeah, I could have recited all these things to you, but he was a great guy. Great in what way? You have to understand from this perspective of what they're saying. He was a great guy. What did he do that made him great? All right. You have to sometimes, like, if you were in a situation with these people, flip the question around. Like, all right, well, what actions did he do that made him great? Was it killing the Native Americans, coming over to another person's land, invading their land and killing them, bringing diseases and everything? Which one of those things that he did was great? Now let's flip it around. Now, if somebody, you got your president over here talking about the Chinese virus or whatever, whatnot, but, nobody's in an uproar or whatever, whatnot about those Chinese people saying, oh, they're amazing people, blah, 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 even though that upon them, they would say that they gave you this here virus or whatever, whatnot, right? Or what about your bin Ladens? Most people think that he had something to do with 9/11 or he was the guy, so on and so forth behind all that. So he was the one to blame for all that. He killed a lot of people, right? That's what they say, right? Well, how come he's not held as a great person? All right, these people, Adolf Hitler, man. They all pretty much had the same backgrounds of Christopher Columbus, if not more. They were probably even worse than Columbus was probably worse than these people, But see, people don't say that these people were great people, But this is the wickedness up under Esau, man, because they were created to be the wicked, the agent of death and chaos, man.
Story. Well, so is the Haitian Revolution. I mean, you're. Oh no! What are you talking about? They were killing women and children. They were killing people.
Now listen. He tried to flip it on him because he was like, Columbus killed some people. He's like, well, the Haitian Revolution killed some people. All right. Now, again, flip it around and vice versa. You can ask somebody in general terms, is killing people wrong? Like, yeah, killing people is wrong. So if I walk up to somebody and just blow their brains out, is that wrong? Like, yeah, of course that's wrong. All right. Now let's flip it around again. Now let's say somebody broke into my house and trying to kidnap and rape my wife and my kids or whatever, whatnot. And I'm defending my family and I happen to kill this person. Was I wrong for that? Well, no, you were defending yourself. That's in self-defense. You were just protecting your family. Okay. Now, this is what this Edomite is trying to bring out. Now, Columbus, all right, he came over here and was invading another land and killing these people. Whereas he trying to bring up the Haitian Revolution, some people that was forcibly taken into slavery, all right, and was beaten and tortured or whatever, whatnot. Now they're trying to defend themselves. And he was like, well, it's the same thing as the Haitian Revolution. Like, no, it ain't the same thing as the Haitian Revolution. You know what I'm saying? I believe that guy's name was James Toussaint or something like that. But this is one of the reasons now why, America and their conglomerations of nations, they actually look down on Haiti like that, even though, they Jakes, they treat us all like shit. But nevertheless, this is why Haiti is so bad off when it comes to the things that they allow them to have and things they don't, because they wind up having that revolution and damn near killing up all the Edomites that was on the island. All right. But nevertheless, this here devil is going to try to compare what Columbus did to what the Levites, the so-called Haitians, did. Again, this would be the same thing as if I walk up to somebody and blow their brains out just because I was I just felt like doing that shit. Most people would say, yeah, that was just wrong, bro. That you shouldn't have did that, right? But now nobody would have no kind of complaints if I was like, yo, I came in, I woke up out of the middle of the night in my bed, heard my daughter in the room screaming, and I ran in there to see what was going on, and there was some dude breaking in trying to tie my daughter up and rape her and shit, and I blew his brains out. They're like, good, for protecting your family, So again, these are these damn devils.
That was the jewel of the Caribbean. They were enslaved. You were treating them like property and animals. So you know what? Fuck this. I can't take it no more. I'm killing all y'all motherfuckers. It's like, I understand. I understand that sentiment as well, even if I don't endorse it.
So what he says, he don't endorse what? You standing up for yourself and protecting yourself. All right. You have to read between the lines what these Edomites are really saying, because that's not what he believes. He believes in defending himself and his country, i.e., 9/11 happened. They attacked us. We got to go over there and exact justice on them. They always want to see justice, but they don't want to see Jake getting that justice back on them for the things that they wound up doing. All right.
Christopher Columbus, nobody was fucking with him. He came and started fucking with people. People were enjoying themselves, and he brought famine, disease, and just raped and pillaged everything. But at some level, you have to own the blood and the guts.
Hey, he said it, right? His own tongue gonna fall upon him. The scriptures say, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. All right. But see, this is what Esau don't really want to face. Now, if he was to go into that, would be like, oh, we don't really believe that. But see, their actions are different than what their words are. When it comes to India and everybody else, they be like, yeah, we got to go get justice. We got to go blow up the whole Middle East because, supposedly, what's his dude's name? Osama bin Laden wanted blowing us up and shit. So we got to go kill them all, But then when we bring up what they've done to us, we're like, nah, y'all got to forget about that, And again, here's another one. Oh, they want us to forget about slavery, but then they want to keep celebrating Christopher Columbus. Like, well, you know that when Columbus came was in 1492. We wasn't even over here for another, a little over 100 years. We came over here around like 1619, all right? But Columbus came over here in 1492. So how are we going to sit here and remember Columbus but forget about slavery that happened after Columbus? How do we celebrate the 4th of July, where they celebrate that from 1776? We were still in captivity. We was already over here at this point in time, and we were in captivity over here. We got to forget about slavery, but we can remember, the 4th of July and celebrate that every year. We can remember Christopher Columbus and celebrate that every year, man. All right, these are the damn devils that we're dealing with.
So why would you guys want to go protect statues of losers who were clearly on the wrong side of history? Because they were great.
Because they were great. Again, in what capacity? All right, you have to understand through the spirit, these people are speaking as the devil and for the devil, basically, He was great in their mind and their agenda from what they was doing. They was created to be the wicked. All right, now real quick, we're going to just go through some scriptures real fast. All right, now, just as a little side note here, all right, we can read in the scriptures about who the Native Americans were, the so-called Native Americans were, the Latinos and the Native Americans were, and also about Columbus coming over here, all right, because this was all prophesied, all right? So what you have to understand is, way back in the days, you had the kingdom of Israel, right? Both northern and southern kingdom, right? Now, the southern kingdom wound up going off first, or the northern kingdom, Salakia, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans wound up going off first. So they went into captivity first under the Assyrians, all right? But nevertheless, we're going to go from, basically from that point in time in history, we're going to read down in here in 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 40, all right? Let me read verse 39. 2nd Ezra 13 and 39. And whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, so they came into another land. All right, so you have the phrase or the term, the lost tribes or the lost 10 tribes. All right, now, just as a little side note, here in Florida, all right, this was really all of America was native land, but nevertheless, around here we still have a lot of these sites that are still up, preserved or whatever, whatnot. Some of them are roped off, and you can still see the remnant of when Jake was over here living. You know, the Northern Kingdom, the so-called Latinos and Native Americans was living over here. I could think of you could look up this what do they call them? A nature preserve park. It's called Emerson Point, and I think it's in Tierra, Florida. It's a little small little ass little island. It's pretty much the only thing that's on that little island, right? But nevertheless, when you go up to this nature preserve walk, I mean, you can go on Google search and do the image search or whatever, whatnot, and look at the images and things like that. Forgot what you have to type in to see the actual sign, but nevertheless, I've personally seen this sign in real life and everything, done videos and took pictures of it and everything, right? They have a sign there that says, commemorating whose land that was, and it says the Trail of the Lost Tribes, and you have a outline of a so-called Indian head up there or whatever, whatnot, you know. So hey, and it's really out in the open. They even have these signs out or whatever, whatnot. Forgot what the other one was called. Free Hill Israel or Israel Free Hill or something like that, where they have a lot of these signs up posted or whatever, whatnot. The Trail of Tears and things like that. They used to have one of those signs around here as well too, off on US 41 or Tamiami Trail, you know, which was marking those things, you know, where basically they pretty who was that? I think it was Thomas Jefferson who wrote up the Indian Removal Act, and up under him it was no, it wasn't Jefferson, it was Andrew Jackson, the dude on the $20 bill, who pretty much put in the law, all right, the Indian Removal Act, which pretty much took the natives on a death march. They was pretty much just marching them into what they would call a reservation or internment camp. All right, with hopes that the majority of them would die on the way up there, you know. But nevertheless, going back to 2nd Esdras 13 and 40, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoner out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. All right. So going back, like I said, into the history, this is the northern kingdom. They wound up going off first. So they went into captivity first, right? And he carried them over the waters so they came into another land. All right. So now what you have to understand is when you read through the Bible and you read the Bible, like the history of the Bible and everything like that, right? You'll realize that, you know, once you get a little further into the book or whatever, whatnot, you only really dealing with the southern kingdom, all right? Benjamin, Judah, and Levi, right? You know, like when Yahushua was on the scene, it was mainly just Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Now, you did have some of the northern kingdom that was over there, but for the most part, it was only Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right? You don't really read about the 10 tribes throughout, you know, as you start going further in history after the divide and this happened, they wound up going, the northern kingdom went into captivity, all right? So you'd have to ask yourself, well, where were they at the whole time, you know? But we're going to read where they was at the whole time, all right? So verse 41 says, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. All right, now what you have to understand is on the eastern hemisphere of the earth, people was living over there in all those lands pretty much at that point in time, all right? You had people that was living, let me see, as far west as, well, I guess Africa, I guess, you know, and as far east is like, you know, you have over there, you know, touching over there into like Russia and things like that, man. All right. So that whole side of the globe was already inhabited. People had already dwelt on that side of the globe. All right. So now when you come further into history, which we'll read further down into this. All right. When you go further into history, when they talk about Columbus and them and so on and so forth, they say they going to the new world or whatever, whatnot, you know. And when they came over here, you know, they only found, you know, for just speaking in layman's terms, they only found one group of people that was over here, all right, which quote unquote they would call Native Americans, you know, Latino, quote unquote, so-called Latinos and Native Americans, all right. So it wasn't like a big group of people, a multitude of different people who just happened to come over here or whatever, whatnot, you know. And people would say, "Oh, how did they get over here?" Blah 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 blah. You know, we'll read it. We'll read it right here. It says, verse 41 again. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and he held still the flood till they were passed over. Now, there's even movies and even in documentations, right? When you go into Christopher Columbus, all right, that his own, what was it, his own diary, his own journals or whatever, whatnot, he basically spoke about it at a certain point in time following a chariot all the way over here. All right. He pretty much followed a chariot or whatever, whatnot. You know, like it says here that verse 43 and 44. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river For the Most High then showed signs for them, and he held still the floods till they were passed over. All right, because it was really a rough terrain trying to get through those seas or whatever, whatnot, and make it all the way over here. But the Most High held back the floods. All right, held back the waves and everything like that to be able to get over here. All right, and they followed a chariot. You know, Columbus even spoke about this in his own diaries that he pretty much followed a quote unquote so-called UFO to get over here. All right. You can also go into the history where they even talk about, they even show this in one of the movies where he talks about such and such, so on and so forth. He read about it in Esdras, or I think he says Ezra, which Ezra and Esdras is the same person. All right, which shows you that he was reading exactly what we're reading right now. All right, so this is also letting him know who was going to be over here. Now, to further back that proof up, when he came over here, he had a translator that he hired and brought with him named Luis de Torres. Now, when you look up and do your research on Luis de Torres, you will see he was fluent in Hebrew. What do you call it? What's that other language? Basically, it's another. What is it? Assyrian. He was like fluent in a couple different languages. All right, but I believe one of the languages that they didn't mention that he was fluent in was like basically the Asian languages, right? So they would tell you, oh, Columbus was looking for Asia and went the wrong way. Like, damn it, man, you done been there before. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that far off. How come, you going for a whole year and a half, you would have been got there by now, so on and so forth. And why didn't you bring a translator that could speak the Asian languages when you went over there if that's who you was hoping to find? All right. But nevertheless, he brought a Hebrew interpreter with him because he knew he was going to come across Hebrews. All right. Now, when you even go into the history why Glenn Beck was fired from, I believe, Fox it was, because he was just doing his own he was actually just doing research, right? And it stumbled upon some things, and he was stumbling upon a lot of different artifacts and things like that. And a lot of the artifacts that he found was written in what they call the Paleo Hebrew, all right? They're like the original Hebrew, all right? He found like what was the oldest copy of like that they found of the Ten Commandments. Found a whole lot of different things written in Hebrew and so on and so forth. And they was all over here pretty much in America, like Colorado, Arizona, places like that, all throughout here in America. All right, now, who the hell was speaking Hebrew over? First of all, who was over here? All right, it was only the so-called Native Americans, the Latinos, all right? They was the only people that was over here. Now, why were they speaking Hebrew? Who taught them Hebrew if nobody else was over here to teach them Hebrew? All right, they had already known Hebrew because they came over here speaking Hebrew to begin with, right? So it says, going back to verse 41, they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen to go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Also showing forth that there was going to be nobody else over here. They wanted to leave the presence of the heathens, which the heathens are all these other nations beyond the Israelites. So they wanted to be by themselves, basically. There was nobody else over here. All right. So let me jump back down to where we were, verse 45. For through that country was a great way to go, namely a year and a half, and that same region is called Osiris. All right. Now, verse 46. All right. Then dwelt they there, all right, the Israelites, the northern kingdom, they stayed living over here until the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come, who is the they that's going to begin to come? All right, they have this saying that you learn in school, 1942, Columbus sailed the sea blue or the ocean blue or whatever, whatnot. That was when he came over here in the latter times, all right? The beginning of their new world order, the beginning of the last phase of their kingdoms, all right? They came over here because, look, America is what? Babylon the Great, the mystery whore of Babylon, Well, where's the beginning of all those things? That was when Columbus started bringing his little red ass over here, all right? But nevertheless, we're going to go from there to the book of Zechariah. Matter of fact, no, let me go to Habakkuk first. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also, because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. All right, so, hey, man, they can't never keep their little ass wherever their little lands is going to be at. They never suffice with that. They always got to get up and go and invade somebody else's land, They call it exploring, discovering. How did you discover a land that somebody was already into? All right, it's like you breaking into somebody's car, somebody's house, where somebody's clearly living in the house, sleeping in the house, eating and cooking in the house, and you just break up into the house, say, oh, I discovered this house, but there's a whole family living in there already, All of a sudden, you just back up your moving truck to the door and start moving all your furniture in and so on and so forth. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know nobody was in here. Or better yet, you go into a stall at the bathroom where somebody's already sitting in there, you just break into the door and you try to use the toilet while they're using the toilet. Like, bro, oh, shit, I just discovered it. These are these damn Edomite damn words that they come up with to make you feel like, oh, they didn't came up on something, but really they stole this land, all right? says, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges his desire as hell, and his death cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth to him all people. All right. And he does that to do what? To rule over them and put them into captivity. All right. Well, let me just keep reading. Verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right. Because since really at that point in time, these Edomites was coming back out the hole again. All right. And going forth and conquering the whole damn land, man. Taking everybody else's homeland, uprooting the people, moving them around the earth, changing their names and taking all their resources and everything like that. Rape, robbing, and murdering and pillaging, man. This is what Esau did once Columbus started selling the damn sea. They was coming back with full force, man. All right. Because before that, before that, you had what they call the Dark Ages when before that, you had, these Edomites ruling over in Rome. All right. But then, you had a time period where Jake started ruling in Rome. All right. But then there was a point in time at the end of the Dark Ages, the 1300s, well, really the end of the 1400s, mid 1400s, going into the late 1400s when they started coming back out the woodwork. All right. And this is when Esau came out the woodwork and started subduing Jake. All right. Because Jake was running damn near everything at that point in time, man. All right. Verse 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee? Thou shalt be booty, and thou shalt be booty unto them. All right. Because, see, that's what you got going on right now. You got a lot of these people trying to tear down these statues, trying to get rid of white supremacy or colonialism and whatnot, and so on and so forth, man. All right. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land and of the city and all that dwell therein. All right. So, hey, man, let me read verse 9. Woe to him that coveteth a evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. So homeboy came over here, slaughtered every damn body. All right, and stole all the resources, enslaved everybody. All right, just so he can get up on top and dominate everybody even worse than that, man. Now look at the condition of the world. Look at the condition of the people, man. Esau is pretty much sitting at the top of as the king of the castle right now. But look at what he's doing, man. He's in that. He's finally in the first place. It's like you playing a little video game where they racing, and you that one dude that's sitting over there just smashing into everybody's car to make them wreck so you can get in the first place. Now you in first place and you done lapped every damn body, but you still going around terrorizing people, man. There's no way that you can come back at this point in time, and you still over there depleting them, man. All right. Let me go from there to, let me read this again. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. All right. Now I was going to read Revelation 13 and 10, but I want to read this verse in Revelation 6, I think 4. Come on. Let me go to Genesis first. Genesis 27 and 41. Genesis 27 and 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, this is the blessing that Isaac blessed Esau with. All right, these Edomites. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And when it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So going back to the top of verse 40, it says, and by thy sword shalt thou live. All right, now let's go from there to the book of Revelation, chapter 6 and verse 4. All right, Revelation 6 and 4. And there went out another horse that was red. All right, just like how Esau's name was changed to Edom after that same red meat. All right, that's what Edom means, is red. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given, like the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. Like in 1 Maccabees 1, it says, and evils was multiplied on the earth after, Alexander came out the woodwork, you know what I'm saying, and started conquering and everything. And then when he died, he passed the crowns down to his generals, and then they put it on their sons, and evils was multiplied into the earth. All right, this is all talking about the so-called white men, these Edomites in their history, man. All right, Revelation 6 and 4, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. Now, we just read about how what Esau's blessing was. He was going to live by thy sword. And how did Esau, the so-called white man, get all the things that he has right now from Columbus? How did Columbus and them wind up taking this here land over here, all right? By the force of the sword, man. All right, how did they become the most dominant country on the face of the earth? By the way of the sword, man. Remember back in World War II when they entered into the war all extra late, but they came with the biggest gun on the battlefield and dropped those atomic bombs on Japan, and it put fear in all these other nations' hearts, and nobody want to really deal with them like that after that. They were like, nah, we good. We don't even want the smoke. All right, because why? This was all prophecy about Esau Edom, the so-called white man, what he would be doing, man. All right. So I'm going to go from there to Revelation, since I was right here. Revelation 13 and 10. It says, he that leadeth into captivity, all right, and how do we get over here? We was led into captivity, right? Put on cargo slave ships. Revelation 13 and 10, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. So, hey, what was Esau's blessing? He was given a great sword and he was going to live by that sword, all right? Revelation 6 and 4 says that he was going to live by that sword and take peace from the earth, man. All right, so, hey, what is his ultimate end-all, be-all goal for that, all right, is to be put to death, man, ultimately, all right? Let me go from there to, let me see. I wanted to grab one more precept. It just slipped my mind. Oh, let me grab this. We'll close out here. What is it? Zechariah. All right, because see, in that little video, you know, they was talking about, oh, well, these were great people and so on and so forth. You know, Columbus, he was a great guy. And like I said earlier, well, if you was to turn the question around and ask him, what actions did he do that made him great? So I can follow after him. I want this guy to be my role model. I want to be just like him. What did he do? What steps did he take to make him great in your eyes? What can I do today to make me great in your eyes, like how he's great in your eyes? You know, that will fuck them all up. They're like, well, then you're like, oh, he killed all these people. Okay, so I'm about to go over here and steal y'all in the same shit. Then they'd realize at that point. But these are the damn devils, man. All right. Zechariah 11 and 5. Whose possessors slay them, like Columbus and them did, and just like in that video, Nick Cannon brought out, like, yo, but hey, these people came over here and was killing folks. They was, you know, they came over to some unmolested people that wasn't fucking with y'all. Y'all just came over here and started slaughtering them. Right? It wasn't like the example I gave earlier, me rolling up on somebody just blowing their brains out just because I just felt like it, versus somebody coming up in my house and trying to rape my little girl or my wife or something like that or whatever, whatnot, and I'm defending my family, and then I wind up killing that person. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, I wind up killing somebody. But if I was to tell both stories, like, yo, I just rolled up on this nigga and blew his brains out just because I just felt like it, people were like, oh, you're an evil person. You know, but then if I was like, well, somebody broke into my house, they had my little girl tied up and was raping the shit out of her, and I heard her screaming, I ran in the room and I blew this nigga's brains out. People like, oh, well, congratulations for protecting your family, and that you're such a hero or whatever, whatnot. She could have died or whatever, whatnot, you know? It's a difference, right? Zechariah 11 and 5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not, you know? They got this here pride because, oh, we're the richest nation, this and that, and so on and so forth. We got all these good things, but you have to wonder, how, what made y'all so great? Was it, all the hundreds of years of free labor, you know what I'm saying? Or just rape, robbing, and murdering and stealing all these different things that made you so rich and so-called great or whatever, whatnot, man? All right, you didn't work for anything that you wound up doing, man. You wound up enslaving some people and killing off a lot of other people or whatever, whatnot, and invading their lands, taking their resources, all right, and brainwashing the people to where they don't even know who they are no more, man. All right, Zechariah 11 and 5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. All right, just like the dude in the video said, well, Columbus was still a great man. How, Nick Cannon's like, how do you build statues over these people and still parade them? Well, he was still a great man. Even though he killed all these people and led the way for these Edomites to come over here and start enslaving Jake and whatever, whatnot, and bringing them over here like that, man. He was a great man because of that. Zechariah 11 and 5, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. All right, well, in their eyes, Columbus and them, they ain't guilty, man. And they that sell them say, blessed be Yahweh, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. They would say, oh, well, Columbus is great because he laid the foundations for us coming into the new world. Look, we wouldn't have this land if it wasn't for him, so on and so forth. Yeah, you wouldn't have this land if y'all wouldn't come over here rape, robbing, and murdering and pillaging people either, now would you? You know, it's just anybody can be like, well, I wouldn't have all these millions if I wouldn't ran up in the bank and killed everybody in the bank for the millions of dollars. It's completely different from me working hard at my own business that I started or whatever, whatnot, and coming up, you know, the natural way. You know, there's a difference in these things, but you got to remember who we dealing with, the damn devil, man. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying into the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that taught us his truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for you, Akim, pushing his truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Till next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.